Hello. So Banyana won the WAFCON, and then they went on and played in the FIFA Women's World Cup. And while we were watching one of the matches with some of my students, one of them said, one day say I want to play for Banyana. And that warmed my heart because I thought to myself, you know what? These are the dreams that only us boys had because we were watching players like in my time, some of them Abu Atazwane, some of them Abu Dr. Kumalo, thinking, you know what, I want to be like that player. But now, even women can look at Banyana and think to themselves, you know what, I would like to be like Utembi Khatlan. And I'm like, the club that has the biggest fan base in South Africa, men and women, does not have a women's team. That does not sit well with me because I feel like if Kaizer Chiefs had a women's team, it would obviously be the most supported women's team in South African football. But not just that, it would also create awareness in terms of women's football. Many more people will care about women's football because you attach anything to Kaizer Chiefs, then it becomes relevant. I'm not saying women's football is not relevant because there is no Kaizer Chiefs women's team, but I am saying that it will just increase and multiply the exposure of the team. And because of that, we'll then see more of young girls saying, you know what, I actually want to play for Kaizer Chiefs. And this sport will continue to grow because I think once you have a certain amount of fans, once you have a certain amount of fame or what's the word, brand, your brand, the moment it reaches a certain size, you have a certain responsibility that other teams don't have. And as much as Kaizer Chiefs fans, us, we will always banter and talk about how we have a lot of fans, how we're trailblazers in this, how we're trailblazers in that, talk about our nice Kappa jerseys, talk about selling Simba chips or whatever they call them. But the thing is, the club is still a football club. And you would think and expect that when it comes to football, they would be the ones who are doing things that have not been done by other teams before everyone else does them. But now it seems like Kaizer Chiefs are only going to have a women's team because CAF is forcing them to have a women's team. And someone will jump in and say, Mpilo, how can you be sure that they're doing it now because CAF is forcing them, or maybe they were planning to do this all along. The problem that I have is that it just so happens that it coincides so much with Chiefs being close to qualifying for the CAF Champions League. And that is when the talks of having a women's team have kind of come up. Remember back in 2020 when there was COVID, that time when the fans marched to Naturena, that was one of the demands that the fans sent out. We want a women's team. We want a women's team. But those things have been pushed aside over and over again. And to me, it keeps on appearing that this team is struggling to continue making or continue doing things when it comes to football. But they can do other things when it comes to merchandising, when it comes to making money in any other way. And if it comes, when we talk about branding, Jessica Mtaung, hands down, she's very good at her job. We can never take anything away from that lady. She knows how to market that brand. But the problem is, at the end of the day, the brand gained its popularity because of the football that they were playing. And you think that the first thing you think about is multiplying in terms of football-wise. And you cannot say now you're going to blame Sundowns for this because you always scapegoat them. Oh, they took Tashrik Matthews. Did Kaizer Chiefs bid for Tashrik Matthews? Oh, they took Umasego or whoever that we are going to talk about. But now, when it comes to this, what is stopping them? Because people are going to talk about, hey, Jessica Mtaung just got a big position, go careful, and all of that. I'm like, yeah, but now you're going to be part of the lawmakers. But Gwawena, you are not following or complying with the laws, which is that if you are playing in the Champions League, you should have a women's team. Now, we would have a women's team because we are complying to the CAF rules, not because we care about women's football. It doesn't sit well with me. It really doesn't. And every other day, as a person who has nieces, who has a lot of sisters, and is watching all these other girls get into football, but their dreams can be cut short because really there isn't many role models in terms of South African football. Because yes, there are really good footballers, women footballers playing abroad. But if Kaizer Chiefs had a women's team, then there would be more people watching the local or the Super League that is in Africa. What is it called? Hollywood Super League. There would be a lot more people watching that Hollywood Super League because there would be Kaizer Chiefs. But Kaizer Chiefs is not there. And you always see, even in the men's football side, that if Kaizer Chiefs is not involved, that thing will likely not have any fans watching that game. It will have some because people do love football in South Africa, but it will not have as much traction as it would if Kaizer Chiefs were there. So I just wanted to, I don't know, vent about this because from time to time it comes up, and I even sent a tweet today I tweeted on Twitter. Yeah. And I was asking people, when is the FC starting women's football? And some people were answering me, but some people were like, well, why would they start a women's football? I'm like, clearly we should be beyond Uguti abafazi laba abayemakishin. That's not the society we're living in now. That's not a society we're living in, and we should start, especially as Kaizer Chiefs, that team should be leading and showing everyone else how it's done. But that's how I think. And I understand the situation that Kaizer Chiefs are going through a rough patch and all of that. But these are two different entities. Kaizer Chiefs Football Club, the men's side, and then Kaizer Chiefs Football Club, the women's side. It would be two different entities. Like they can, because I've seen some teams that have a very bad men's team but a very good women's team. So it depends on who's running either side. But at the end of the day, it will get some exposure and then it will help South African women's football as a whole. But that's just me. I don't know what you think. Maybe you think women should be in the kitchen. I don't know. But whatever comment that you have, do let me know down on the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, remember, equals and Pelumoy.